Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome to a new episode of Sports News Flash at 12 with your weekend sports anchor, Miguel Mike Medina. And let's get things started with some golf. Harris English, he won his fifth career PGA Tour victory. He won the Farmers Insurance Open. This is his first PGA Tour win since 2021's Travelers Championship event. It's been 4 years, but it feels like 4 long years for him. He made 12 straight pars to end the day, one shot over Sam Stevens. And this is a big victory for Harris. He overcame a hip surgery in 2022. In in yesterday's final day, he showed a lot of discipline. His putting was on point. And the score by each round were 68, 73, 66, 73. It was great to see him celebrate this victory with his family. His daughter was there. And he even said on an interview on the Golf Channel that coming into yesterday, coming into the golf course, he did not watch Sports Center, Golf Channel, nothing. He was mostly watching cartoons and staying relaxed. And Harris, he had to overcome weather conditions because it was a very windy weekend in San Diego, but he did just enough, kept himself well composed, and played a terrific game. He practiced on his game, and now he's back into victory mode. This is his first PGA Tour win in 4 years, so this definitely has to feel good for Harris English. Moving on to the NBA. The drama between Jimmy Butler and Miami Heat continues to get uglier. The Miami Heat suspended Jimmy Butler for 2 more games because he missed the team flight. This was when Miami faced the Milwaukee Bucks on the road, which they ended up losing that game. And although this gives Miami Heat front office a little bit more time to see where they're going to move Jimmy Butler, because I feel that the front office, they have the edge in this case in the sense that they don't have to trade Jimmy Butler to any team that he wants to go. They could trade him wherever they want as long as they get something good in return. Getting Bradley Beal doesn't move the needle, but at least it eliminates the distractions because right now there's too many distractions going on in the Miami Heat organization. Jimmy Butler, I've said this many times, he's one of my top five favorite players in the game right now. But his attitude, his his way of acting like a diva it's hurting him. It's hurting him. And we've seen this before when he was with the Minnesota Timberwolves, with the Chicago Bulls. So he does have a track record of trying to force himself out to go to another team. Although those cases in Chicago, Minnesota was totally understandable, in this situation, you're making 50 million, 50 to 52 million a year. There's just no excuse. You gotta fulfill your right to play for the contract that you signed. There's people that they kill, and I repeat, they will kill to have that kind of money. His talents, his hard work blessed him and led to him to make that kind of money. And that happens in sports, in this case, the NBA, because he plays in the NBA. Jimmy Butler has this coffee business, but there was no way that he was gonna make 50 million. 90, well, I'm not gonna underestimate his business, but about what he will be making in the future if everything works out for him and his business. And I really hope that it does work out for him. But he's an athlete that's making millions of dollars. And you mean to tell me that you're not gonna pull your full effort on the court because you're not getting the max deal, because the system in which Miami Heat are playing it is not working for you. Like I said, there's people that they kill to have the kind of money that Jimmy Butler has right now. There's people who are completely satisfied living, making 60,000, 90,000, 100,000, 1 million. So imagine 50 million. Like I said, Jimmy Butler's attitude is really hurting his his value. He's 35 years old, so I wouldn't give a max deal to a person that's in their mid 30s. I don't care how good they are. And we also got to take consideration his durability issues. You have both guys in Jimmy Butler and Pat Riley, who I would say they're stubborn guys, but I'm on Pat Riley's side here. And I give Pat Riley so much credit because he's not one of these people that they just bend over and give everything to the player. Pat Riley is cut from a different cloth. So, and that's something that aspiring general managers, team presidents, they need to look at that as an example. You can give everything to an athlete. You just can't do that. And nowadays, athletes, they want to hear yes, yes, yes. And the minute that there's a rejection, they want to force themselves out of a situation. I am not the biggest fan of when players in any sport they quit on a team. And as much as it pains me and as much as I hate saying this, but Jimmy Butler quit on his team. Some would disagree, but I'm unbiased. He quit on the Miami Heat. He quit on his teammates. And I feel bad for his teammates for being in an uncomfortable situation of constantly have to answer questions about Jimmy Butler. You can see Jimmy Butler, he's wearing color laces on his shoes of the Phoenix Suns. So that's Jimmy being Jimmy, being petty, um, being, or I should say, have fun. And he seems to be enjoying all of this. But this is a breakup, an SD breakup that I never imagined and I never wanted to happen between him and Miami Heat because everything was going so well until they lost to the Boston Celtics after the first round, where Pat Riley said what he said. Again, when you have a contract, you have to deliver and be professional about what you sign. I barely watch inside the NBA on TNT this season. I barely do. But I saw a short clip of Shaq, Chuck, Kenny Smith, EJ talking about the Jimmy Butler Miami situation. Shaq makes it so easy for me not to watch the show because the things that just comes out of his mouth and his defense towards Jimmy Butler and how he's handling everything gives us the idea and the reason why Kobe was the way he was towards Shaq. There are so many athletes. I'm not just going to speak NBA, but in general, there's so many athletes in sports that they have the talent, they have the success, the accomplishment, but they could have done more had they checked their attitude and their ego. Shaq, as much as he's accomplished in the NBA, he could have done so much more had it not been for his attitude. And he had a strong work ethic. Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler, they really need to get this done as soon as possible because this is a messy breakup and it continues to get ugly and ugly and ugly. Miami Heat, they're not going to win a title anytime soon. They're a playoff team, but they're not going to win a title anytime soon. They have to focus on the young guys and develop them. I like what I'm seeing from Color. I feel like Jaime Jaquez Jr., in order for him to succeed, he has to have a lot of playing time. So far, it's not working out for him in terms of playing limited minutes. But I like what I'm seeing from Color. I like Nico. Bam needs to be more consistent. And Tyler Hero, he just got to continue doing what he's doing, continue to get better, continue to score a lot of points for the Miami Heat. But they have a bright future if they play their cards right. But yeah, very sad situation with Jimmy Butler and Miami Heat. Today is NFL Championship Sunday. Two NFL championship games. We have Washington, Philadelphia, Buffalo, Kansas City. I was going to wear a blue suit, white button down shirt with a red tie, red handkerchief to basically pull out a good luck charm for the Buffalo Bills. I like and respect Kansas City, but I feel that this is more of a legacy game for Josh Allen. Josh Allen is 4-4 in the regular season against Mahomes and the Chiefs, but he is 0-3 against the Chiefs. This is his 1991 Michael Jordan moment. For those of you who don't know, that was the year that Jordan beat the Detroit Bad Boy Pistons on his fourth try. So this is Josh Allen's MJ 91 moment or Buffalo Bills 2002 Tampa Bay Bucks moment when the Bucks, it took them their third try to finally beat the Eagles in the playoffs. I picked Buffalo to win this game, a tie game. Yes, they're going to be on the road. It's not going to be easy because it's Kansas City. Josh Allen he has to do two things as a quarterback. Two things. Get the ball out, don't commit turnovers. And the great thing about him is that he's only had 8 interceptions this season, which is a career low. So he barely makes mistakes and he can't start now. Kansas City finds many different ways to beat you because they have great offense, defense, special teams. The coaches are geniuses. So Buffalo has to match that, but play much more strategic, more aggressive, and more smart. But this is a very, very, very big game for Josh Allen. Arguably the biggest game of his career. Buffalo Bills haven't been to a Super Bowl since the Jim Kelly, Andre Reed, and that whole Buffalo team that went to four straight Super Bowls, but lost all four. I will say this game right here is the Super Bowl. And whoever wins this game, I firmly believe will win the Super Bowl. Doesn't matter if Washington or Philadelphia comes out of the NFC. I feel that whoever wins between Buffalo and Kansas City will be the champion in the Super Bowl. If Buffalo wins at all, I am 100% sure I'm going to buy their championship shirt. I'm a New York Giants fan, right? I'm from New York. I was never a Buffalo Bills fan, but that city deserves it. And Buffalo is in New York, but isn't upstate New York. I have a brother-in-law who's a Buffalo Bills fan, so I have him in mind on for today. And if the Buffalo Bills win the Super Bowl, I'm definitely gonna get. I can't say the other part. I can't say the other part. I gotta keep it quiet. But as for me, I'm definitely getting a Buffalo Bills shirt. Um, I like the name Bills Mafia. If I hope they win it. If they win it, that'll be a tremendous story. That city, those fans deserve it. A lot of years of suffering, heartbreaks. A Super Bowl win will pay homage and tribute to all the greats that came and played for the organization. That Super Bowl will be for Jim Kelly, for Andre Reed, for Mark Levy, Bruce Smith, Thurman Thomas, Darryl Talley, Steve Tasker. So many of that amazing era. This will go for all of them. So I'm really pulling for Buffalo today. I wouldn't be mad if Kansas City wins. Again, whoever wins this game will definitely win the Super Bowl. In my opinion, I could be wrong. And whoever wins this game, I want that team to win the Super Bowl. Sorry, Washington. Sorry, Philly. But for me, it's either Buffalo or Kansas City that I want to win the Super Bowl. So either way, I'll be happy whoever wins between the two. But I definitely want Buffalo to win this one. I can't wait for this game. It's at 6:30. Washington, this is their first championship game since 1992. It was basically their 91 season, but the game was played in 92. And they won the Super Bowl that year. They beat the Buffalo Bills. And no, I hope that doesn't happen. I hope this is not the case. But Washington, they're playing with house money. They do not fear Philadelphia. After beating Detroit, the number one seed, they do have much more confidence. Jaden Daniels is not playing like a rookie. I believe this will be a close game. Philadelphia, they're going to need Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown to have a big game. I am picking Philly to win this game. So they'll be at home on top of that. So I see Philly going back to the Super Bowl, and let's just see what happens. That game will be at 3 or 3:30. Buffalo, Kansas City will be at 6:30. So there's nothing like NFL Championship Sunday. So I'm looking forward to that. Some baseball. Ichiro, CC Sabathia, Billy Wagner are heading to Cooperstown this summer. Ichiro should have been unanimous, but I'm not gonna go too much detail into that. But when I think about Ichiro, I just can't help but to think the year 2001. For him to come into the scene, win the AL Rookie of the Year, win AL MVP, helped Seattle win 116 games. That year was amazing. It was something beautiful to watch. It was my second season watching full-time baseball, and Ichiro's impact that year was huge. He was super quick. He had a good eye, strong arm. He was electric that year. He was big time. I'm happy to see him get in the Hall of Fame. And it's interesting in the interview with Bob Costas, he's been to Cooperstown several times just to speak to other Hall of Famers and learn about the history of the game. But now he's going back, but as a player, him getting inducted. So I'm looking forward to his speech. C. Sabathia, in my opinion, he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. I would have put him in next year, but I wasn't surprised that he got in on his first year. When I think about CC, I think about his great years from 2006 through 2009, in my opinion. That was CC Sabathia at his best, in my opinion. When he was with Cleveland, in his late years with Cleveland, his mid-season trip to the Milwaukee Brewers, and then his first season with the Yankees, and his entire playoff run with the Yankees in 2009. I'm glad to see him much healthier. He's in much better shape now compared to his playing days. And this is a man that's been through a lot with alcohol problems and everything else. If you've seen his documentary, if you've seen his interviews, then you know what I'm talking about. But I'm glad that he's going to the Hall of Fame. Again, in my opinion, he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, but it is what it is. Billy Wagner, his story is sensational. His story is sensational. He got in on his final year on the ballot. He got in with 82% of the votes. A guy that became a seven-time All-Star. When I think about Billy Wagner, I think about his great years as a closer with the Houston Astros, especially in the late 90s and early 2000s when he was just a flamethrower, throwing hard. His 99 season stands out the most. And he got to play with some great players in those Astros team that they never got to ultimate goal because they had to run through the Atlanta Braves. Playing with Craig Biggio, Jeff Bagwell, Moises Alou, just, Derek Bell. Great. Those Astros teams were very talented, but there was just other teams that just got in the way. But I'm very happy that he got into a Hall of Fame, especially learning the fact, everything he had to endure in his life. He was drafted from a Division III college, which is very tough, and worked his way. He had some struggles. He saved a lot of games. He's blown games as well. But it's a big accomplishment that he became the first left-handed reliever to get into the Hall of Fame. That's huge. That's massive. So congratulations to Billy Wagner. all three men. I'm looking forward to hear all their speeches in Cooperstown in July. And the last but not least, some tennis. Novak versus Alexander was a good match. It ended tough because Novak, he was dealing with injuries, so he retired from the match. And Novak has been doing this for 20 years. He's one of the toughest tennis players I've ever seen with my own eyes. He's played with bad hamstring, bad legs, bad arms, you name it, and he showed up. He was hurt against Carlos Alcaraz, which he ended up winning that match. But against Alex, he just couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it. His muscle bone was, he just couldn't do it. And it was just very distasteful of the fans to boo him. I understand that they paid a lot of money to see these players perform, but your health is your number one priority. And Alex, who's the number two tennis player in the world, I became a much bigger fan of him when he came to the defense of Novak after the game, when he said in the interview that basically telling the audience that don't boo him. He's been doing this for such a long time. He's played injured for so many occasions. So if he can't continue to perform, then you know that it's really serious, this injury. So the fact that he defended Novak in that moment speaks of much class and dignity that he showed there. And he even expressed that there were times where he was going through some trials, tribulations, and Novak was there for him, gave him some words of wisdom. So salute to Alex for that. He went to the Australian Open finals, but he ended up losing to the number one tennis player, Jannik Sinner. And Jannik Sinner ended up winning his third Grand Slam title. But I really hope that Alex does win a Grand Slam next year, sometime in the future. He's in his prime. He's 27 years old. We're seeing a lot of great tennis players with Alexander, Carlos Alcaraz, Jannik Sinner. So the game of tennis is in good hands. That does it for this episode of Sports News Flash at 12. Enjoy NFL Championship Sunday. Enjoy a bunch of variety games that it's today. Hope you guys give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next Sunday for a new episode of Sports News Flash at 12. Take care, everyone, and may God bless each and every one of you. Put your full trust in the man above.